Now, this is something that the community has been asking for years, eons, moons. Hey guys, what is up? AwesomeTheSauce here. Hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful Friday, and welcome to an incredibly, epically awesome, fantastic test round video. Now, you already know that when there are new spells in this game, your boy gets hype. You know, your boy's like, yes, you know, your boy wants nothing more than for there always to be new spells every update. Because let's just be honest, when it comes to Wizard101, new spells always create more hype, and it's very, very rare that a new spell is, you know, like seen as a huge negative from the community. It's always an exciting new change, and that's why this test realm is very exciting. Now, if you guys don't even know what I'm talking about, alright, you came to the video, you're like, what is this, man? What new spell? Huh? I was feeling that way until very recently. There's a new pack in Wizard101 that's coming, and it's already in test realm, so if you actually played during the test realm, you could have opened up packs. But basically what it is that it's a Grizzleheim lore pack, and it basically has 3 new spells. It's called Grendel's Amends, Radiator Spin, and Hammer of Thor. Now, in this video, what I'm going to do, I'm going to review whether I think these spells are overpowered, underpowered, and how they're going to affect PvP. So this is something that a lot of you guys on stream have been asking me to do, and I'm really excited because, you know, I definitely think that it could be a game changer, some of these spells, or they might actually be overhyped for no reason. So my mans, let's start off right away with Grendel's Amends. Now, this is something that the community has been asking for years, eons, moons, centuries. So the Myth Heal, right? I have some issues with this card almost quite immediately, and I'll tell you guys why. As you guys can see, this is something, you're right, the community's been asking for it for a very, very long time. Everyone's been asking for Myth to get a heal. It only makes sense. Literally every other school has some form of healing. Death has drains, Life has actual heals, Balance has Availing Hands, Storm has Healing Current, Fire has Links, and Ice has Snowdrift. This is the only school that there's no spell that had any sort of healing capability. So for that reason, I'm a huge fan of this card. It adds diversity into the game. This is something that we really, really need. But if you guys take a closer look at the card, I don't know, man, it seems very, very underwhelming to me. If you go just by pips, right? Sathish heals for more than 210 health per pip, right? But when you look at this, what we're really looking at is a spell that doesn't even come close to that. We're looking at a spell that does maybe 130, 140 per pip. Now, I get it. Life is the healing school, and it doesn't really make sense for Life to be the one that, you know, like gets like screwed over with this update. But the thing is, you shouldn't make the argument that Life is a healing school and therefore its heal per pip should be way, way higher, because all you have to do is look at Availing Hands. Availing Hands does almost exactly as much as Sathish for the exact 4 pips. So I don't understand why some schools get to have heal per pip like this, you know, for 4 pips, and for 5 pips, you're telling me it does less, and the heal per pip is less? There doesn't really seem to be a good trade-off for this spell. So right away, I'm looking at this. Yes, it's a good thing because Myth needs heals. Like, every school should have some way of recovering health. I think that this spell is very underwhelming. I hope they buff it up. If you're really telling me that 5 pips is going to only give you 675, you can put a Primordial on it, and it barely catches up to Sathish for the extra pip. Now, I know what people are thinking. Why am I freaking out over 1 extra pip? Here's the thing. If it was maybe 3 pips versus 4 pips, you know, I wouldn't really be making a big deal out of it. The truth of the matter is, because of the way power pips work, when you start off at 0 pips, you have to wait 3 rounds to heal. For you to have to wait 3 rounds to heal almost makes this heal very, I don't know, definitely in PvP not that useful. But even more importantly, like, it just doesn't really feel like you're waiting all that time for any real payoff. Now, my suggestion for fixing this card, because right now I'm really underwhelmed by it, either give it some kind of extra, you know, ability, like, you know, something that's myth-oriented, like, I don't know, maybe like a shatter on the opponent, or maybe like a mass cleanse ward. This is too many pips for how much it heals. There has to be either a lower pip cost for this, even 4 pips for 675 health, I would be kind of okay with it, because Mint is more of a hitting school, you know what I'm saying? 5 pips, way too much. I just think they need to have some other thing added onto it, because right now, this is one of the most underwhelming things I've ever been given in my life. That is my review on this spell. I'm very hype about it, but I'm very disappointed at the same time. Now, the next spell is Spin, and basically what it is another thing the community has been asking for a very, very long time. It is a 4 pip AoE. Now, again, I want to clarify my opinion about this spell before I say anything. Alright, this is a review. I'm gonna be objective with it, you know? I really, really think life should have gotten this as a trainable spell a very, very long time ago. I mean, I genuinely think it's ridiculous that until you learn Forest Lore, you really don't have a way of killing every minion. You have to, like, spam Leprechauns and have good damage for them to kill. Or, I don't know, even, like, Blade Up twice, you know? Like, I remember when I was alive going through, like, Mushu and Dragonspire, it would take forever to quest because I literally didn't have any way of hitting multiple opponents at the same time. So for that reason, I really, really like this. That being said, I really, really hope that there are more versions of a spell like this, because I just think a lore spell is very, very hard to learn. How many low levels do you know that have Deer Knight, for example, right? A lot of people complain that Death doesn't have a 4 pip hit, right? And eventually when Deer Knight came out, people were hype about it because finally you would have a way of killing your opponents a little bit faster, especially when you're questing. I think this is really good because it makes questing easier. But the problem with the spin is that I feel like it's a little bit pay to play, just a tad. I feel like people who just open the pack a lot are just gonna get it and then they can quest. But what about all the life wizards that need this to quest? You know what I'm saying? But I definitely think that specifically for something that's so needed, you know, especially in PvE and for questing, like a spell like this, I think there has to be other ways to get it. So I actually don't have a problem with anything about it. It has 85 accuracy. So when you look at the accuracy on a card like Sandstorm and you look at this spell, you see it's very, very similar. Maybe a little bit better, but all lore spells generally tend to be a little bit better. So it's very balanced, I think, in terms of what it does. I mean, let's just be honest, it's not really going to affect PvP. This is a PvE spell, and for that reason, I really hope they either make it like craftable, droppable from lore maybe. I don't know, man. I just want it to be different from other lore spells because I feel like lore spells are so hard to get. And this is something that people really, really need. Now, the final card, my guy. This one, in my opinion, is to me, it's the biggest disappointment of all because it looks a lot better than it actually is. Now, if you guys are seeing the card, you know, on your screen right now, you might be wondering, what does it even do? So basically, what it basically does, and this is gonna like, I don't know, it's kind of stupid in my opinion, but basically what it does is it removes a trap that's on you and then hits the opponent for 475 damage. And this is all for 5 pips. Now, I don't think I need to remind anybody that Storm, right, for 5 pips, they have a Stormzilla spell. Stormzilla basically does 650 to 730. Now, I know what you guys are thinking, right? If you basically add abilities and stuff to a card, obviously the damage is going to go down, right? But here's the thing, that's not necessarily the case. When you look at Catalan, look at these Catalan TCs, bro. It does, the TC version, which is very, very close to the original, right? It does about 700 damage, and it has an accuracy debuff. Not to mention, there's other spells that are 5 pips for Storm, like Catch of the Day. Again, they do a lot more damage. They are closer to 600 damage for a very, very useful 2 positive charms removed. So when I'm looking at this, not only is the damage seriously, seriously not worth it, but even more importantly than all of that, I just don't think that the extra, like, you know, utility that's on it is really anything. I think it's really important to start this conversation right now for Storm Wizards. Storm Wizards have sorely needed utility spells. The vast majority of the spells that we get don't do anything in terms of utility. Even our lore spells, a minus 25 mantle isn't really going to do much. Even Calypso, the real utility is that it just buffs up itself and does more damage. You know what I'm saying, dude? We have yet to really get a utility attached to anything besides maybe Catalan. We need more spells like Catch of the Day. We need spells that can weaken our opponent. I think maybe, you know, if you really want to justify a 5-pip spell doing 475 damage, my immediate thought in order to fix it is that it really should be doing something like maybe cleansing a charm on you and adding a trap. Like, you know, it has to do like multiple things. You know, just removing a trap isn't really gonna do anything, you know? I would even understand maybe if this was like the way it is, if maybe it enfeebled along with it. It just doesn't seem to be justified compared to other storm spells for the damage it does. And for that reason, I'm not really sure I'm feeling this spell almost at all. But yeah, guys, here's the thing. I don't think I'm a huge fan of any of these spells as much as, you know, maybe people want. But there is a silver lining, and I'm really hype about it. The fact that Life is getting an AoE, Myth is getting a heal, and Storm is getting a spell that doesn't just do plain damage without any utility attached, it shows one thing more than anything, and it's that King's Isle is listening. That is a huge takeaway from this spell update that I've gotten, and hopefully, in the future spells, they look into balancing the game a little bit more. And honestly, I hope they experiment a little bit more because some schools have really good spells. Fire has like Brimstone. Life has Luminous. You know, we're talking lore for balance of all spells. I feel like if every school had a spell like that, not only would people complain a little bit less, but it would actually make other schools much more viable in PvP. But yeah, guys, that's my takeaway. Now, here's the thing. There's always things that I don't consider, because I don't know everything. Do I look like I don't? I don't. I'm stupid, alright? I'm stupid. Stupid. Yeah, man, in order to, you know, make up for that stupidity, make sure you drop a comment letting me know what you guys think of the spells. If this is your first time seeing them, what do you think about them? What are your first impressions? And if you're a veteran PvP player, do you think you're going to use this in your deck? How do you think you're going to use it? Let me know what kind of strategies you guys are going to use with it in the comments. I'd love to know. And especially when this drops, I might even try to do strategies with these spells so that maybe we can see. Maybe Myth will be really competitive. Maybe this Hammer of Thor spell is an actual trash. And maybe Life will quest a little bit easier, though I really doubt that one because this is pay to win. Yeah, man, as always, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, leave a sub if you're new. There's tons of links in the description, including my Twitch, my Twitter, my Instagram, my Discord, and my merch, which is going off the shelves in just a few days, so get it if you haven't already. If somebody hasn't told you you're awesome today, they doing something wrong. So stay awesome, bruh. And yeah.